The lights of Seoul were fading into dusk when the members of BTS gathered backstage. The concert had ended hours ago, but none of them seemed ready to leave. The echoes of fans chanting BTS, BTS, still lingered in their ears, a sound both beautiful and heavy. Jungkook sat quietly on the floor, still in his stage clothes, his hoodie halfway zipped up. His hands were trembling slightly, not from exhaustion, but from something deeper. He had smiled through the encore, waved, laughed, and even joked with Jimin, but inside, he felt something tightening in his chest. Taehyung noticed first. He always did. "Cookie, you okay?" Taehyung asked softly, lowering himself to sit beside him. Jungkook didn't answer right away. His eyes were distant, fixed on the empty seats that once shimmered with army bombs. "It's just," Jungkook's voice cracked, almost a whisper. "Sometimes I don't know if I'm doing enough, or if I deserve all this love." Taehyung's heart sank. It wasn't the first time he'd seen Jungkook doubt himself, but tonight felt different. Heavier, quieter. He didn't speak. He just sat there, shoulder to shoulder with him, letting the silence breathe, and in that silence, Jungkook's walls began to fall. The dressing room had gone quiet. Most of the staff had left. Only the faint hum of the air conditioner filled the space, steady, low, almost like background music to the silence between two people who didn't know how to start saying what they really felt. Taehyung leaned back against the wall, his eyes never leaving Jungkook's face. He could tell Jungkook was fighting tears, the kind he'd never let fall in front of anyone. And so, like always, Taehyung waited. He never forced Jungkook to speak. He just stayed. Finally, Jungkook whispered, "Hyung, do you ever feel tired of being strong all the time?" Taehyung blinked. It wasn't a question he expected. Jungkook's voice was soft, but every word was heavy. "I try to smile, to work harder, to make everyone proud. But sometimes I feel like..." The room was dim, the only light coming from a soft desk lamp that painted the walls gold. Jungkook sat by the window, his fingers tapping against a mug of cold coffee. It was almost midnight, and the city outside was nothing but blurred lights and fading echoes. Taehyung pushed the door open gently. "Taehyung, you're still awake?" Jungkook, smiles faintly, couldn't sleep. "You?" Taehyung, same. "I heard you practicing again." Jungkook, "Yeah, it's just hard to stop sometimes." There was silence, the kind that didn't feel awkward, just heavy with things unsaid. Taehyung leaned against the wall, arms folded, watching Jungkook's reflection in the window. He could see the exhaustion in the younger shoulders, the kind that comes not from work, but from carrying too much emotion. "Taehyung, you've been quiet lately." Jungkook, "Yeah." Taehyung, "Something on your mind?" Jungkook hesitated. He looked down, playing with the edge of his sleeve. "Jungkook, there's something I've been meaning to say, but I didn't know how." The memory of their early days flashed through Jungkook's mind. Dorm rooms filled with laughter and ramen. Late-night rehearsals. Fights over nothing that always ended in laughter again. But behind every memory was Taehyung, steady, warm, and quietly watching over him. "Jungkook, you know, when I first joined the team, I didn't talk much. I didn't know how to fit in. Everyone was older, louder, confident. Taehyung, you were the shy one." Smiles softly. Jungkook laughs. "Yeah. You were one of the first who talked to me. I still remember that." Taehyung, "I just wanted you to feel comfortable. You looked like you were carrying the world on your shoulders." Jungkook, "I was. I still do sometimes." Taehyung nodded. "Taehyung, you don't have to carry it alone, you know." Those words hit deeper than Jungkook expected. "Jungkook, I know, but I forget sometimes. I keep thinking I have to be strong for everyone." Taehyung, "Being strong doesn't mean being silent." The room went quiet again, but this time it was peaceful, like two old souls understanding each other without needing more words. Minutes passed. Jungkook's hands trembled slightly. He looked up, eyes glassy under the lamplight. "Jungkook, Tae, can I tell you something honestly?" Taehyung, "Always." Jungkook took a breath. "Jungkook, there were times I wanted to quit. Not because I didn't love what we do, but because I didn't love myself in it." Taehyung, softly, "I know." Jungkook. You knew. Taehyung. I could see it. The way you'd stay back after everyone left. The way you looked at yourself in the mirror. Not to check your moves, but to ask yourself if you were enough. Jungkook's lips parted, speechless. Taehyung always knew. Jungkook. I never said thank you for all the times you noticed, even when I didn't. Taehyung smiles faintly. You don't have to thank me for that. That's what brothers do. The word brothers lingered in the air, solid, unbreakable. Jungkook. Still. I should have said it sooner. You helped me find myself when I was lost. I don't think I ever told you that. Taehyung's eyes softened. He didn't speak right away. He just nodded slowly, eyes glimmering in the half-light. Taehyung. You did the same for me. Jungkook. You just didn't realize it. The rain began to fall outside, soft, rhythmic, almost like it was listening. Jungkook. Sometimes I think people don't see the real us. They see the smiles, the music, the shows. But not the nights we question everything. Taehyung. They don't need to. That's ours. Jungkook. Yeah, ours. There was something sacred in that moment, and oh, cameras. No audience. Just two people who'd grown up together under the same lights, carrying the same invisible weight. Taehyung. You've grown so much, you know. Jungkook laughs softly, still growing. Taehyung. That's the point. We all are. But you've learned to open up. I can see it now. Jungkook smiled, a small, tired, but genuine one. Jungkook. Guess I finally learned from you. Taehyung. Me? Jungkook. Yeah. You always knew how to stay calm. How to look at the bright side even when everything felt dark. Taehyung. Teasing. Maybe I'm just better at hiding it. Jungkook. No. You're better at healing it. Jungkook stood and walked to the window. Raindrops trailed down the glass like tiny tears. Jungkook. Sometimes I think about what it would be like if we weren't doing this anymore. If we weren't BTS. Would we still be close? Taehyung. We'd probably fight over something stupid. Laughs softly. Jungkook. Yeah. But we'd still find our way back. Taehyung. Always. Then Jungkook turned, voice lower now, almost a whisper. Jungkook. The truth is, you're one of the reasons I stayed. Taehyung blinked, taken aback. Taehyung. What? Jungkook. When things got too loud, too heavy, you reminded me why we started. You made everything feel real again. Taehyung. That's a lot to take in. Jungkook, half smiling. I mean it. I wouldn't have made it this far without you, Hyung. Taehyung looked at him, really looked. The boy who once hid behind shy smiles was now a man standing with unshakable honesty. Taehyung. Then I'm glad I was there. Because I needed you too. Hours passed like seconds. They stayed up talking about the past, the laughter, the struggles, the dreams that felt too far once but weren't anymore. The first light of dawn crept through the curtains, washing the room in pale gold. Taehyung. Do you ever think about how far we've come? Jungkook. Every day. Taehyung. Does it scare you? Jungkook. Sometimes. Because I don't want to lose what made it special. Taehyung. You won't. As long as we remember who we are, we'll be fine. Jungkook smiled. The kind of smile that carried peace, not pressure. Jungkook. Thank you, Taehyung. For what? Jungkook. For being the constant in a life that keeps changing. Taehyung didn't respond immediately. Instead, he reached out and lightly tapped Jungkook's shoulder. Taehyung. You've got a good heart, Jungkook. Don't ever hide it again. Weeks later, during an interview, Jungkook was asked about the members, about who had impacted him the most. He hesitated only for a moment before saying softly, Taehyung. Because he taught me what it means to stay grounded. The studio fell silent. Fans around the world later shared the clip, replaying it over and over. What they didn't know was that the confession had already happened, in a quiet room, under a soft lamp, between two friends who had already said everything that mattered. That night stayed in both their memories, not because of the words, but because of the honesty that filled the space between them. And though the world might never hear every part of that conversation, the truth lived on, not in headlines, but in the way they looked at each other on stage, in every unspoken moment that said, "We made it together."